Hello, everybody. Tornado. Dick Grayson sure has come a long way from being Batman's wisecracking, hot pants wearing, domino mask using sidekick. He's got his own city, his own series, his own supporting cast, his own amusement park ride, and even his own fan base. He's even been Batman from time to time when needed. From starring in Titans to potentially getting his own feature from the director of the Lego Batman movie, Grayson seems to be rising now more than ever, as Nightwing makes its way to being a household hero name. On the surface, Nightwing seems like the perfect name for Grayson. A creature of the night, just like Batman, but separate, different, standing just outside the Dark Knight's long, foreboding shadow. That's not all there is to the title, though. Grayson didn't just pick the name Nightwing because he thought it sounded cool. It does sound cool, but that's not the reason. There's actually quite a bit more to the origin. Grayson first gained the moniker of Nightwing in Tales of the New Teen Titans, issue number 44, during the epic Judas Contract storyline. Feeling he'd grown up and needed to step out of the Batman's shadow, he took up the new identity, casting the Robin title away, for the first time since he gained the title in the 40s. The origin of the new name, as given in this issue, holds its root in a far older story, though, penned in the 1960s in an issue of Superman, of all places. As many of you may know, one of the most persistent parts of the Superman mythology is the bottled city of Kandor. Kandor was one of the largest cities on Krypton, but was stolen by the villainous Brainiac just before the planet's destruction. The city was shrunken and put in a bottle, till it was eventually found by Superman and placed in the Fortress of Solitude. The Man of Steel made a vow to help bring Kandor back to full size, but often struggled to do so. After its introduction, Superman would make trips to the city often, both to help figure out a way to bring the people back to full size, and to learn more about his heritage and the planet he never knew. During one of his adventures in the shrunken city, Superman, along with his best pal, Jimmy Olsen, find themselves outlaws. As Superman has no powers due to the red sunlight radiation used to approximate Krypton's natural environment, they must disguise themselves. In an ironic twist, they are actually inspired by the dynamic duo themselves, Batman and Robin, to create a pair of vigilante personas. Bats and Robins, however, do not exist on Krypton, because it's not Earth. Just like there's no humans, there's Kryptonians. And so they take the names Nightwing and Flamebird, after two species of Kryptonian birds. Following this adventure, Superman returned and went back to his day-to-day life of fraudulently reporting on himself and lying to nearly everyone close to him. Yeah, that perspective takes a lot of the fun out of Superman. Seriously, his whole life is like the textbook definition of conflict of interest. So much for truth and justice, although the American way might not be. Never mind, way off topic. Anyway, Superman leaves Kandor in its shrunken state, because there's definitely no superhero with the ability to change the size of things. That would just be silly. Clark would then go on to tell this story to Batman and Robin themselves. Clearly, it left quite an impact on the Boy Wonder, as you would expect it to. He was like 10. Years later, Grayson would go on to take inspiration from this story, as a tribute to not only the darkness that inspired his father figure Batman, but also the home planet of one of his closest allies, Superman. Over the years, through various retcons, the story of the Kryptonian Nightwing would change. Instead of being created by Superman, it would actually be explained that Nightwing and Flamebird are Kryptonian mythological figures, although the vigilante aspect has been used in other stories, such as the Superman crossover New Krypton. There are also other characters to have taken up the name, like Van Z, Superman's cousin from Kandor. He happens to be almost identical to Supes, which was surprisingly common. I mean, it's no wonder Lois Lane never connected Superman to Clark Kent. Half of Metropolis probably looked like them. But I digress. There was also a sociopathic vigilante named Nightwing, inspired by a sign above a deli promising all-night wings. He was shot immediately following his first outing. He surprisingly survived, but it was pretty brutal. He did end up killing the guys who shot him, though, so, I mean, it all worked out in the end, I guess. It's also worth noting that the title of Flamebird was used by another character, Bat Kane, the original Batgirl. Although she was not nearly as successful as Nightwing, she did feature in a fair share of stories, and became a member of the West Coast branch of the Teen Titans, along with heroes like Hawk and Dove and Beast Boy. She was also a major character in the Beast Boy miniseries from the late 90s to early 2000s. That's not super relevant, but it's a cool miniseries that I feel like doesn't get a whole lot of love. And it does feature Nightwing, so it all comes together. Beth Kane has her own kind of complicated origin that I would get into now, but honestly I feel like she's deserving of her own video. I find her whole thing kind of fascinating in a way, and it ties in pretty closely with Batwoman's origins, so maybe around the premiere of the show? I don't know. Maybe say something down in the comments if you'd like to see that video. Given how long the name Nightwing has been in use, there's plenty more information available, but I didn't think it was all that important, so I left it out. Considering how long I had thought my Donna Troy video was going to be, link in the description and right hand corner of the screen and at the end of the video, so there's no reason you should miss it, except unless you don't want to see it, which is a pretty good reason. Anyway, I figured it would be worth going the shorter route this time around, and I found this whole thing interesting still, so I figured it warranted a video of its own. DC's never really had as strong of a shared universe as Marvel, so I think it's really cool that one of the most important Batman characters was so heavily influenced by a Superman story. It also shows how heavy an impact Superman had on Grayson's life. There have been many stories that almost use Superman as Robin's cool uncle, juxtaposed with the stern father figure that is Batman. It adds insight into Grayson's character, showing a possible reason why he wasn't easily dragged down into the darkness of Gotham. He had more than one hero to look up to, and it allowed him to stay the relatively happy-go-lucky acrobatic hero he's known to be. And it all culminated with him choosing the name Superman once used for himself. An idea that was still also inspired by Batman. It really comes full circle in a way comics don't usually get to. Still, if there are things that you would like me to follow up on, like maybe the part about the mythological figures, I'd love to do another video about the topic. Just tell me down in the comments below. Anyway, that's all I have for now, and I don't know what else to ask. I feel like I need something that everyone has an opinion on. Should Nightwing have a mullet? Sure. Debate that down in the comments. Maybe leave a like or even subscribe if you want to. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.